Yellowstone's a show that's won the hearts of people all over the world. There are a lot of reasons why you should watch this show, from the beautiful visuals to the complex and likable characters. First of all, the way the show portrays the American West is absolutely stunning. The places where the scenes were shot are beautiful, and the cinematography is just stunning. The show looks great not only because of how beautiful the scenery is, but also because of how well the sets, costumes, and the overall production design is put together. Also, Yellowstone has some of the most complex and relatable characters on TV right now. This is very clear with the Dutton family in particular. Each member of the family has their own problems and goals, which makes them feel like real people. It's also great that the show's able to mix intensely dramatic moments with funny and fun ones. The high-stakes storylines are another thing that makes the show so interesting to watch. There's always a lot of tension and drama in the plots. Kevin Costner does a great job as the main character.
You see that fence? That's mine. That fucking fence down there, that's mine too. Everything this side of that mountain, all the way over to here, mine too. You're trespassing.
John Dutton and the rest of the cast are just as good.
This is my home. If I did this to your home, what would you do? Well, I'd kill you. That's right.
So, if you like the genre, Yellowstone's a show you should watch. When it comes to good TV, it's all about the people in the show. The audience needs to feel like they know the characters, understand what drives them, and want them to succeed. And there's no denying that the characters in Yellowstone are a big part of what makes this show so interesting. Each character is unique and brings something special to the story. From John Dutton, the patriarch, and his complicated family relationships, to Jamie Dutton, who's ambitious and driven,
I'm not buying this for the Yellowstone. I'm buying this for me.
and Beth Dutton, who's strong and resilient.
You're trespassing! Trespassing!
Characters like Rip, the loyal foreman at the Dutton Ranch,
You got people for that, sir. There's a lot to fix here, Rip.
Casey Dutton, who's determined,
Son, come on out.
I said leave it.
He's not coming out if someone's in the room.
I'm not someone. I'm his father.
and Monica Long, who's smart and wants to get ahead, are also important to the show.
My job is to protect our son, and the best way to do that is to keep him from your father. And keep him from you.
Monica.
One thing that makes the characters in Yellowstone so interesting is how they change over time. People watching can see how they grow and change, which makes it more satisfying to watch. There's always something to keep the audience interested, whether it's John Dutton's journey to find redemption or Jamie Dutton's quest for power and acceptance. The characters in Yellowstone are also interesting because they're complicated. They're not just one-dimensional caricatures. They're real people with flaws, strengths, and weaknesses. This makes them more real and gives the show more depth. Characters are a big part of what makes Yellowstone a must-see show. They're pretty, complicated, and interesting, and it's hard not to care about what happens to them. So, whether you're a die-hard fan or just starting to watch Yellowstone, please pay attention to the characters, because they're what make the show so great. A Yellowstone infographic shows which character from a popular Western series people dislike the most by state. Yellowstone is a movie written and directed by Taylor Sheridan. Kevin Costner plays John Dutton, the head of a family that's owned and run the biggest ranch in Montana for more than 100 years. Throughout the drama series, the Dutton family faces many threats from people who want to take control of their valuable land. These threats come from corporations, the nearby Broken Rock Indian Reservation, John's old enemies, and even other family members. A map made by Valencia Theater Seating and shared by Wide Open Country shows which Yellowstone character people hate the most in each state. Based on 120,000 tweets from all over the US, the map shows that Beth Dutton is the character that people dislike the most, coming out on top in 32 states. Wes Bentley's Jamie Dutton comes next with 15 states. The list is finished off by Monica Dutton and Summer Higgins, who each have 2 states. Why is Beth Dutton so disliked? John is proud of his land and his family, but it's been hard for him to keep them under his roof and under his control. Beth is John's daughter, and she's emotionally unstable, but fiercely loyal. She'll do anything to help and protect her father.
I'm the one safe person in this world that you can turn to, Beth, for anything. And it breaks my heart I didn't make you know that.
I know it now. And now is all that matters.
Unfortunately, sometimes the things she does on the spur of the moment hurt the people around her. Beth rarely finds a middle ground or agrees to something. If she wants something, she'll do anything to get it, including knocking over anyone who stands in her way. Beth's actions have put the family to the test many times, which made it more likely that Jamie would betray them. Her way of talking and negotiating usually ends in bad language and violence, like when she got into a brutal fight with Summer, who was dating John.
Dad, if you're gonna hire a hooker, would you please let me get you a good one?
Beth.
When season 5 of Yellowstone comes back, Beth will be at war with both Jamie and market equities. Her actions are also starting to test Rip's resolve, but his ability to turn any problem she throws at him into love will probably keep Beth from doing anything too bad for herself. Yellowstone's coming back this summer, so fans will have to wait to see if their least favorite character can make things right. In other news that fits, even though Yellowstone's future isn't clear right now, the success of the franchise's spin-offs shows that the universe can keep growing. Throughout the 5 seasons of Yellowstone, John's had to deal with a wide range of enemies. Whether it's the plans of the Machiavellian investment firm Market Equities to build an international airport on his land, or the successful attempt by the bad guys the Beck brothers to kidnap his grandson, life as a Yellowstone park ranger is full of drama and problems. But even though the things that have happened around the ranch have been interesting so far, it's becoming clear that the main story of Yellowstone is coming to a natural end. Yellowstone needs to change and move on from John Dutton if it wants to stay alive. Yellowstone's always been about things like leaving a mark and getting older. Since the first season, when John Dutton's health worries boiled dangerously close to the surface, the main question of who will inherit the Empire has been left tantalizingly open. Even though John's whims and his children's betrayals have made for exciting drama, the story will eventually have to solve its main problem. Keeping John as the linchpin forever doesn't make it more stable. Instead, it makes sure it stays the same. If Yellowstone has a flaw, it's that the way it repeats itself can make it feel like the same thing over and over. Keeping John in the picture for as long as possible won't solve the problem. Yellowstone's power comes in part from how much it cares about making up stories about its past. The past drives and shapes the story, whether it's Thomas Rainwater missing his old home, Lloyd Pierce remembering being a cowboy in the old days, or John Dutton being haunted by his wife and the life he could have had. Because of this, it makes sense for the series to learn more about the past and how the world of Yellowstone came to be. John Dutton always says that Yellowstone's the kind of place where enemies and fights tend to happen. Even though the 5 main Yellowstone seasons since 2018 have been full of drama, it's likely that the 140 years before that have even more to tell. Yellowstone would be better off if it didn't stop its main characters from finding peace. Instead, it should let its main story come to a natural end so that it can grow and change its focus. Ironically, if Yellowstone wants to move forward and do well, it needs to look further back.